All right, welcome back to another episode of SKOL'ing with the Enemy. You know who I am. We got Richie, the man from Jets Media in the house. There's no one else I'd rather talk to about Vikings, Jets, than Richie. Roundtable Sports founder, you co-founder, whatever it is. You guys all, the best part about Roundtable Sports is now everyone from our show, we see them in the comments. They're always coming over to the NFC North Roundtable. So Richie does the Jets, and he's one of the main men in charge. So, Richie, welcome to the show, man.
Onebar. Pleasure to have you, man. Shout out to the Vikings fans that's tuning in, and hopefully we got some of my subscribers coming on in here supporting my boy Onebar. He does a great job supporting the Vikings. Love to have you being the face of the Vikings for Roundtable Sports. The NFC North Roundtable, like we were just talking about, was the first roundtable we expanded to, and it is awesome to see you guys almost hitting 5,000 subscribers. And I want to thank everyone that's watching this that supports the NFC North Roundtable, because it's been a lot of fun to see our boy Onebar and Lupagus represent their Minnesota Vikings. And we got a big game in London to talk about. And, man, I'll just tell you right now, before we get into it, it's going to be hard to root against my boy Sammy D, because he's been a joy to watch, but he's an enemy for me this week.
Sam freaking Darnold, the redemption tour with the Jets. And Richie, all of his links will be down in the description. The dude is blowing up over there. I was watching your Jets Media Day. You're out there. I mean, you got freaking Gary V stopping by. Like, you couldn't make this up how awesome that was. So you're absolutely killing over there. Give him a sub.
Thank you, man.
Hit him up in the comments, especially come game day, especially if the Vikings win. Let him know. But yeah, let's get into this. So usually I do some quick hitters at the end. I'm going to flip that around. I'm doing quick hitters right out of the gate. I just want some quick answers. First off, Davante Adams. Were the Jets going to trade for this guy? And number two, do you want them to trade for Davante Adams?
Yes and yes. The Jets have been in on it since the Jets got Aaron Rodgers. I've been in on it since the Jets got Aaron Rodgers. Since last offseason, the Jets were almost able to acquire him last year, but the reason why they didn't was because the Raiders were not open to trading him. Now they're open to trading him, but now there's a lot of teams coming in. So the Jets just got to get the deal done. I have high confidence that they will.
What's the highest compensation you would be fine with giving up?
I think they can give up a second-round pick plus maybe another like mid-round pick, a second and like a fifth or something like that. I'd be comfortable with.
All right. We're going to talk about the Jets offense too, and I want to know how much this would help the offense, obviously. But let's keep going. The fire Salah train. Are you on that train or are you not on that train? Because Jets fans, at least according to Twitter, I mean, a lot of them seem like they're pretty much done with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, Salah has not really proven to us yet that he's a head coach. I mean, still to this point, Onebar, Jets fans are really livid with him. To me, it's just like it's a wait and see. We have Aaron Rodgers. This is his opportunity to see who Robert Saleh is with an actual quarterback. The excuse that we had for Saleh is like, okay, well, he was dealt the bad hand of quarterbacks when he got here. The Zach Wilson was a bust. We had to go through Joe Flacco and Simeon and all these busts of a quarterback. So now you got Aaron Rodgers, so there's no excuses here. I don't think they should fire him today, but if they have a complete miserable season and they don't make the playoffs, yes, I'm absolutely on the train of firing him after the season, but I'm not someone that thinks moving on from him in the middle of the season is smart.
All right, so number one issue, and you can keep this high level, number one issue with the 2-2 Jets so far, whether it's the play calling, straight up coaching, a player, what's been the number one issue so far?
Yeah, I think penalties. The Jets rank at the top at penalties. I think the reason why we lost against Denver was penalties. We had 13 of them. 5 of them came on the offensive line for a false start. We only had 1 false start in the first 3 games, and all of a sudden we have 5-1 game. That was a big issue. I think our defense against the run has been an issue. It hasn't been that bad since week 1, but that's something that has to get cleaned up. And then the last thing I'll say is what would make this Jets offense elite is everybody getting on Aaron Rodgers' page. And I knew in the offseason, I was like, it's going to take some time for this offense to really gel. I don't really expect this offense to go out of the gate and just light up defenses, because we need the wide receivers, we need the offensive line to see the game through Rodgers' lens. And that's what makes Rodgers so great, because he sees the game like at a different level where he knows what the defense is looking like. But if he sees it and the wide receivers don't, then it's all going to be out of sorts. So that's my biggest thing right now is the receivers and the playmakers around Aaron Rodgers got to get on his page in order for things to work out. And I feel like we saw a glimpse of it against the Patriots, who suck, but we need more consistency.
They do suck. Vikings, power ranking wise, everybody's either like finally buying in, they're still like putting them like at 6, 7, whatever it is. Whether you got your own power rankings or not, where do you put the Vikings as far as the best in the league right now?
Well, let me start off with this. I do a daily show on The Huddle, on BetUS TV, and that show is NFL coverage. So it's me, TD, and Dan. We talk about the entire NFL. It's not just AFC East coverage, which is, of course, our division we represent. And I have been saying every time we talk about the Vikings in the NFC North and Sam Darnold, I've been hyping up Sam Darnold, hyping up the Vikings. And you know why I was? Not just because I have, a soft spot for my boy Sam, but it's because of the pairing of Kevin O'Connell. I trust that coach to put Sam Darnold, and I saw, I got into a big debate. JJ McCarthy is their rookie. He's going to take Sam Darnold's job. Before JJ got hurt, I'm like, JJ's not touching the field this year because Sam's going to go out there and ball out, and it's going to be a tough decision for them, and that's exactly what Sam's doing. Now, unfortunately, JJ gets injured, and now Sam doesn't have any rookie behind him worried about, and he's taking it and running with it. I think they're a top 3 football team right now because not only is their offense looking elite, but their defense led by Brian Flores has been a joy to watch with the disguise of blitzes. It looks like you're coming, then they don't go, and then it looks like they're coming, and they do come, and they get to you, man. So they're an opportunistic defense. They get off to a fast start, which allows their defense to get really, really high pressure rate on the quarterback. So I think that this team right now, you guys may have the best division of football at this point, NFC North, and I have them as a top 3 team, man. Absolutely. Best receiver in football in Justin Jefferson, and who doesn't like a comeback story with Sam Darnold?
Damn, Richie's getting me fired up. It needs to be Sunday immediately. One player, if you had the power, magic wand, to bench on the Jets right now, who are you putting on the pine?
Who would I want to bench?
Who do you want? Who gives you like anxiety when they're out on the field? Like the one guy is just like, I'm done with this dude. And maybe you don't have one, but yeah, I feel like every team has that guy.
Right now, I'm upset with our kicker, Greg Zuerlein. I mean, he had a chance to save the day against the Broncos. It was a 50-yarder in the rain. He missed it. But, there hasn't really been a liability to this point yet, like a singular player. I will say, though, I don't want them benched, of course. I'm going to flip this answer around. I don't want them benched, but the 2 players I was hyping up, Onebar, who has not lived up to the hype yet, is Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. Those are the 2 guys I thought were going to be the stars of our offense, and they haven't lived up. And I need them to answer the bell. So those are the 2 guys I'm a little worried about.
Let me get right into that then, because I want the rundown on this offense. You mentioned Breece Hall, you mentioned Garrett Wilson, and you got Aaron Rodgers, obviously, and you got some players. But what is going on with the Jets offense?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to, like I mentioned earlier, we need to get everybody on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. What makes Rodgers so excellent is his mind. Everyone said heading into the season, Rodgers is washed up. He's 40 years old. You can't expect him to be good. In my opinion, I think him being 40 years old is a weapon. I think him having that experience is something that we have to use to our advantage. His cadence, his ability to go to the line of scrimmage and be an empty, recognizing a defense, changing the play at the line of scrimmage. But he can't do those things if we have guys around him that doesn't know what Rodgers is even talking about. So I think the chemistry with him and Garrett Wilson have been off because defenses have zeroed in on Garrett as the number 1 option, and they are double teaming him. They're shadowing him, and Garrett has not been able to get over the hump of a guy like Pat Surtain, Snead again, and Christian Gonzalez. And then Breece Hall, I just don't know what's going on with Breece, man. He seems like their rookie running back behind him, Braylon Allen, is leapfrogging him in terms of the efficiency from the running game. But I will say, I am predicting Garrett Wilson to have his best game of the season against your Minnesota Vikings. Not because your defense is bad, but I feel like I like that matchup based off what we've seen thus far.
All right, that's fair. Aaron Rodgers. Let's just say Aaron Rodgers stays with the Jets. Never really lives up to expectations. They don't make a push or anything. Like, is he already going to be an all-time favorite? Like when we got Brett Favre from the Packers, even though he came here and lit it up, which was just icing on the cake, I just said, like, this dude could do nothing. It's just awesome to see him in a Vikings jersey, and he's going to be one of my favorites. Is that kind of like the thing with Aaron Rodgers? Like, are you just so happy he's there? I mean, obviously you want him to perform, but do you love some Aaron Rodgers this early?
Well, Rodgers is going to be a Viking if history repeats itself, first of all. But yes, if there's anybody that knows me, I'm the biggest Rodgers guy. I was a big fan of Aaron Rodgers before he was a Jet, and that's important to say. He was like my favorite quarterback in the league for my entire upbringing. I mean, I don't know. I grew up with the era of Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is like the only one that's left of that era, right? And now he's on my football team. I'm a big fan of Aaron on and off the field, and even if he doesn't come through this season, I'll still be happy that I was able to witness greatness on the football field because he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever throw the football.
No, absolutely. We've had our share of Aaron Rodgers, and what concerns me as a Vikings fan is we've seen this before. Like Aaron Rodgers seems like he's getting fairly pissed off And when you get a pissed off Aaron Rodgers, he does seem to go to a next level. Like, do you see that happening? Do you see Aaron Rodgers taking things into his own hands and just saying, screw it, I'm going to do what I want. We're going to win these damn games?
Yeah, the thing I love about Aaron Rodgers is something that Jets fans have not seen from our quarterbacks in, it feels like, my lifetime, is a quarterback that can actually hold his own teammates accountable. Like, if Zach Wilson's out there and a wide receiver drops a pass, who is Zach to say anything, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers, if someone's not in the spot, he'll let you know. He gets pissed off, and I love that. That's a standard. That's a championship mindset. I demand excellence, and if you don't pull through, I will let you know. And he's also holding himself accountable, which I like. He said in the press conference after the Denver game, I had some bad throws. So it's not like he's this egomaniac like, oh, you guys are doing everything wrong, and I'm doing everything right. That's not the dynamic at all. I think that a pissed off Aaron Rodgers is good, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. And now that we're going into a game in London that we're the underdogs, and everyone's counting out the Jets, that's why I like it. As a Jets fan, I feel more comfortable in a game that we're expected to lose rather than going into a game against the Broncos when we're favored by 8 points because we lose those games. The Jets always play up to their opponents, and we play down to our opponents, meaning we lose to bad teams and we beat good teams. It's just what we've done.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm when Aaron Rodgers with the Packers couldn't stand the dude. He's drinking Purple Crush after he beats us. It's the worst. But now that he's a Jet, I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. Like, not this weekend. Like, there's nothing better than to see Aaron Rodgers go succeed somewhere else, and Packers fans have to watch it. So I love it. But talking to Aaron Rodgers, I mean, how healthy is this guy? I mean, he's getting, what did he get sacked 5 times last week? He was hobbling. What, Aaron Rodgers and just the Jets as a whole?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is dealing with some knee swollenness. I mean, it's a wear and tear. It's no ligament damage. It's nothing serious. It's just like probably a little bruise on his left knee, so it's not his plant leg, which is important there. The only thing that concerns me with that is we saw against the Patriots, we're like, whoa, Rodgers is moving. He had 18 rushing yards, right? Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see that again now if he's had a little bruise in his left knee. So that's something to look out for. And CJ Mosley is going to try to return with his toe injury, but it doesn't seem like he will. Our right tackle, Morgan Moses, is still out. But other than that, our injuries are pretty much status quo. We may see our defensive tackle make his debut. Leaky Fatu, a free agent acquisition we got from the Cardinals. He came here to be our run stuffer, and he has not played yet this season. He was put on the IR before the season began, so he may be making his Jets debut on the defensive tackle spot in this game. So that's something to look out for. Maybe there's some type of difference on that Jets defense, but other than that, we're pretty healthy.
Weakest spot on the Jets?
Weakest spot,
just positional wise.
Yeah, the weakest spot right now, I would have to say, is that's a good question. I think the running game, the offensive line in the run game. I feel like our offensive line has been pretty good this season from protecting Aaron Rodgers, besides that game against the Broncos, but we have to be able to block. I think that's a big reason why the run game's not working, is Breece Hall is not getting those lanes. So I'd have to say the run game in general.
If they actually trade for Devontae Adams, is that more of a panic move? I know you've been saying like they've been wanting to get him here essentially as early as last year, but is it like, as a Jets fan, is like, okay, they're scrambling, or is that icing on the cake, hopefully, to turn it around?
I think that if the Jets were 4-0, hypothetically, they'd be doing that. Okay. I think that this has been a calculated move for a long time. If you look at the books, if you look at all the moves that the Jets made, Mike Williams' contract is not guaranteed next year. Lazard's contract's not guaranteed next year. Like, it fits the books. I think all the moves the Jets made in the offseason was to make sure they can afford Devontae Adams for a midseason trade. So I don't think this is a panic move whatsoever. This has been a move that the Jets front office have been calculating for a long time.
All right. And I always ask this, I'm very curious. When it comes to your team, their current situation, you're looking at the players you have now and when their contracts are up, how much cap space you might have next year or the year after that. Like, what's your window that you're in right now? Is it like, I mean, obviously with Rodgers, it changes things a little bit. Is it win or we're screwed? Or is your window like 2 to 3 years, whether Rodgers is there or not?
I'll be honest, man. I'm usually a Jets fan. I've always been this way, that look forward. I'm like looking forward to the future. I want long-term sustainable success, but you only got Aaron Rodgers for hopefully 2 years. If we're lucky, 3. You got to win a Super Bowl now. It's now or never. Like, when Rodgers leaves without a Super Bowl, how am I going to look at myself in the mirror and be like, yeah, we have a chance? Like, this is the best chance the Jets have ever had to win the division, make a playoff run, and win a Super Bowl. And I know that sounds delusional of a Jets fan talking about a Super Bowl, but, you know, you look at what the defense has done. You look at what the playmakers we have around him. If everybody can get on Rodgers' page and Rodgers can turn the clock back, like, it feels like it's a now or never. And if Rodgers retires without us getting to the playoffs and making a deep playoff run, I don't know what this Jets football team looks like. We don't have a quarterback for the long term. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Onebar. I've been speaking some delusional dust around saying like, oh, Rodgers going to go out there, win us a Super Bowl, and the Vikings are going to decide to roll with J.J. McCarthy. We bring Sam back, and Sam's our franchise quarterback. How about that? That's my dream scenario, my delusional biased dream scenario where Rodgers wins us a Lombardi and then Sam can still be our franchise guy, because I always wanted Sam. I never wanted the Jets to trade him, and they did, and I had to jump on the Zach Wilson hype train, which never really took off. So that's really the scenario we're in.
That's really not that crazy for Darnold to go for a circle. Maybe he doesn't want to come back. But you mentioned Sam Darnold, and I already know you love you some Sam Darnold. What's the consensus with Jets fans? Are they more like annoyed that now he's ripping it up and it's not with the Jets? Are they happy for this dude? Because Sam Darnold, I mean, we saw the quotes coming out earlier. Was it yesterday? Act. I mean, just a classy dude, quiet, gets stuff done. He's having a hell of a season. But what's the consensus in Jets world?
And that's a big reason why I love Sam right there, Onebar. It's not just because I saw a lot of talent, but his demeanor, his class act, his all about it. He just is a perfect example of franchise quarterback, in my opinion. I always felt that way off the field. Now, I would say Jets fans are kind of split. There's some Jets fans like, I can't take it. Sam's out there balling out. Because it's not just Sam. It's Geno Smith, former Jet with the Seattle Seahawks, right? Like, you see these quarterbacks like go out there and they're just like, why are they good now and not with us? There's some Jets fans that are like, screw Sam, bro. He's making us look bad. But then there's another section of Jets fans like myself that's part of the Sam Darnold club that's rooting for him, man. Like, right when the Jets got rid of him, I said, bro, like, wherever he goes, I'm a Sam fan. Like, I met him in person the summer that we drafted him, and like, I prematurely crowned him as my quarterback for the next 20 years. So I'm a little mentally ill. So I may still think that he still is. So that's where I'm at. I feel like it's split, where some Jets fans can't stand the fact that he's making the Jets look bad. There's other sector of Jets fans that absolutely love Sam and are rooting for him big time in the Vikings.
It's crazy you mentioned Geno Smith. It's been so long. I forgot he was with the Jets.
We drafted him.
The Jets. Yeah, I mean, I completely forgot about that. That's how long it has been.
That's what we have to go through as a Jets fan base.
At least he didn't have Baker Mayfield too. That'd be cool. All right. So when it comes to the Vikings, you mentioned they're a top 3 team in your mind. Like, what scares you the most about this Vikings team come Sunday? Is it the offense, defense? What is it?
Yeah, it's definitely the defense. I think that your defense with Brian Flores, the confusion that it brings opposing offenses, that you guys can check into a blitz at any moment, check out of a blitz at any moment, the communication that you guys have, the pressure rate that you send on the quarterback, that's what concerns me the most, to be honest. The offense for the Vikings, of course, you got to show some love to Aaron Jones, because the Jets are not good against the run, and Aaron Jones can run all over us. I can't wait to see part 2 of the Justin Jefferson versus our secondary matchup, because Jets and Vikings versus 2 years ago, and the Jets limited Justin Jefferson yards-wise, but he was still able to get in the end zone, and Justin Jefferson said today, like, he gave a lot of credit to Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, and I cannot wait to see that matchup. So I think this Jets defense is going to be able to keep us in the game enough. I don't think we're going to shut down the Vikings at all, but I think they'll be able to withstand the Vikings and contain them enough. The only way the Jets win this football game, Onebar, is if Aaron Rodgers and this offense gets off to a fast start. If we get down early, it's over. We got to get off to a fast start, and we have to keep up with your Vikings offense, and hopefully it comes into like a fourth quarter, like 28-24 type of football game, and it comes down to who's got the ball last and who's going to make the final play.
Well, you bring up a great point, because the Vikings haven't been down. The number out there, it's the only time they've been losing this season is like minutes. Like, wow. I don't even know where it is. So we haven't had to come back and do that yet. And that's what's scary about the Vikings right now. And I saw when Gary Vee came on your show, the first thing he said with that Broncos-Jets game, he said, it's going to be a trap game. It's going to be a trap game. And myself, I look at this like I don't just look past the Jets by any means. When you got Aaron Rodgers and you got those guys on offense and that defense, I'm not looking by them. I'm going to pick them to win, and I think they should win. But something scares me about this Jets team on Sunday, where we've beaten so many damn good teams the last 3 weeks. It's like now the Jets are coming to town, or not coming to town, going to London, and we can't lose that one.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a good point, because the Jets' philosophy against the Patriots was starting fast. And that was a big emphasis on that football game. And they finally started off fast. Again, it was the Patriots, bad team, but that's what you got to do. And when Rodgers had that little scuffle with Salah on the sideline, he said 2-score lead. because that's what Salah's been preaching. Like, can you give my defense a 2-score lead finally to protect? Our defense doesn't know what that's like, Onebar, to have a lead to protect. Throughout the last 3 years with Salah, it's been the opposite. So I think that's the goal here, because how good the Vikings have been early in games where they get the lead and it gives Brian Flores the freedom to get all these crazy exotic blitzes. If we allow the Vikings to go up early, it's going to be a tough sledding for this Jets team to come back. So we got to flip the script and we got to start off fast. Maybe we win the toss, we get the ball first. Let's go down the football field and score. Not going to be an easy thing to do, but that's what I want to see this Jets team, is start fast, because the Vikings have been leading all season long. I want to hear a funny stat that has nothing to do with either of our teams.
Absolutely.
That connects with yours. The Miami Dolphins have not had a lead once this season. Not 1 second have they had a lead. So tell TD that next week after he doesn't have a lead again.
Watching your guys' show is fantastic. I love it that you have that in your back pocket.
Not a second of a lead, and they have a win somehow, by the way. They have a win, but they haven't led once.
That's painful. They might not have one all damn year. I mean, it's possible. So what if Robert Saleh gets shown the door? What would you think about Brian Flores over there?
Man, I'm looking at Ben Johnson, if anything. I'm really looking at more offensive-minded, because the Jets have been defensive-minded my entire life. The only offensive mind we brought in was Adam Gase. Gag. But I think Brian Flores...
Not interested. You're not interested.
No, I am interested, 100%. I would love a Brian Flores.
Stay away from him, man. Stay away from him. He needs to stay here.
Yeah,
but I was just curious. I mean, he would look pretty badass in a Jets.
He would. He fits this Jets season. But you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm like, Salah is not getting fired. The Jets are going to figure themselves out. Salah is our guy for the future. Even if I don't believe that, I'm still going to say it, Onebar, because I don't want to go down that path yet.
Nope, I hear you. I wouldn't either. No score. You don't have to give a score prediction by any means or anything, but going into this game, what's your confidence level? I mean, can the Jets win? Do you think they're going to win? What are you feeling?
I'll be honest. I think the Jets can win, but my level of optimism is not high. I thought that the Jets missed an opportunity to beat the Broncos and be 3-1 and feel like, okay, if we lose against the Vikings, it's not that big of a deal. We 3-2, but now it puts us in a situation where we're kind of desperate, because if we lose this game, now we're 2-3. The Jets are on primetime football after that game against the Bills. So it's a tough game. It's a really tough game. I'm not going into this game thinking it's going to be easy. We're the underdogs for a reason. I mean, hell, how could I be confident when you guys are 4-0? You've never had a deficit. Sam Darnold's lighting it up. He's living up to all the potential that I hyped him up to be. Everyone clowned me like, oh, Richie, you're delusional, bro. You're so wrong about Sam. And I was wrong at the time. And now everything I said that he had is coming to fruition. And I'm like, see, I knew it was in there somewhere. I knew where it was. So I'm not that optimistic, but I still see a path, because we got Aaron Rodgers. And that's something that, like, I have a deep level of confidence that Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback. He is a grown man. He's a Hall of Famer. He is not going to get confused by Brian Flores as much as any other quarterback in the league. So I got confidence that he is the reason why the Jets win. That's the only way they do it, Onebar. We need an Aaron Rodgers type of game to win this football game.
Bingo, bango. Richie, links are down in the description. The man brought his A game, as he always does. We appreciate it. I got one more final quickie for you. London games, those butt-ass early games, in or out?
I mean, I got to wake up the break of dawn over here and go do my live reaction. I was thinking of going to London, but I ended up not doing it because of other reasons. But you know what? I like it. We wake up with a cup of coffee. We get to start it off. I mean, football in the early AM. If the Jets win, it's going to be awesome. But if they lose, I hate London games.
Vikings 3-0 in London, man.
I was about to say the Vikings are undefeated in London. Oh, man. Everything's just not looking good.
I love it, man. This is fantastic. Richie, we appreciate you as always. Like I said, links down in the description. Hit up all the roundtable. They're fantastic as always. So, Richie, man, good luck on Sunday.
Thank you. Enjoy the Sam Darnold ride. You guys will go 16-1 after your loss this Sunday. Appreciate all the Vikings fans in the chat. Hit the like button from my boy Onebar, and we love you. Subscribe to the channel and enjoy Sunday morning football. Peace out, guys.